Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Hooray birthday card. This card features a gatefold design with a few little extending tabs, well, I guess not tabs, but captions that kind of extend beyond the two little parts of the gatefold. Anyway, let's take a look at what we have here. Now obviously we have the card base. And I've already pre-folded everything. Now keep in mind you have solid scoreline options in your folder, and I like to use those when we're working with cards and envelopes because it looks a lot nicer. Okay, so we have a series of panels. Two of them are square, two of them are round. These round ones we're going to actually glue to the inside here. Okay, so that's where we're going to start actually. Let's go ahead and get these glued into place. Make sure your glue bottle is nice and clean and ready to go. Okay. And we do want to maintain a nice even border on the sides here. So before you commit, just take a quick glance all the way around on all four sides and make sure that it is in fact nice and centered. There we go. And I did take these panels. I believe this is a graphic 45 print. If it's not, then I'm out of touch with things here, but yeah, it's got to be graphic 45. I did take and ink this a little bit around the perimeter just to make it look real nice. Graphic 45 really lends itself to distress and inking because it has that vintage vibe. Okay, so again, nice and centered on that panel as well. Let's try to get that as aligned as you can. What is that? Okay, so let's put the center in place here, and let's build it first. Okay, so I have this piece. This is out of a green foil, actually. And on top of that, we're going to put this piece, which I believe is AC Vanilla. And I did ink that with a little bit of like a peach sort of color, maybe a little bit of an orange. Okay, and it's going to go on there. Just want to make sure that you match this up with all these little cutouts so that we get that nice raspberry color showing through from the back of the card. Okay, now this on foil, for me, is going to be a little bit more challenging. If you're using foil, be very careful with the placement on this. The foil is not very forgiving, so you want to try to nail it on your first go. And then after you do get it in place, try not to move it around too much. There was a time where I was working with some foil and I got everything lined up perfectly, and then I kind of nudged it without even knowing that I did, and I came back to it and it was dry, and it wouldn't move anymore obviously because it was dry, and it kind of ruined it. So just be very careful with that, and I did a good job there, so I'm happy. Okay, and once we get that in place, I'm going to give this a few extra seconds to dry. Okay, we do have this birthday caption that we're going to glue down, and we have a whole bunch of different markers here to help you with the positioning of this. Now if you just kind of take this and move it around, you'll see where all these little markers go. So for example here, the first two little markers on the left hand side, one of them goes right here, and I'm going to use something skinny to point so my chubby fingers don't get in the way. So this little upside down V is going to go right into this little nook here. There's two little score marks here that are going to go right here and here. We have one little score mark here that's going to go right here where this little round part of the T meets the horizontal part of the T, and so on and so forth. So before you commit, just kind of take a look and eyeball it. Make sure you understand where it goes, and try your best just to get it in the ballpark. If it's a little bit off, I don't think anyone's going to notice, but we have those there specifically so that you can get this thing nice and centered. Okay, now this is a pretty small little piece. It's not really holding anything together. It just needs to live on this card, which means that we can go pretty easy on the glue here. Definitely want to get the glue out to the little extremities so that they don't come pulling apart. Okay, so be very, very careful with this. And I'm going to start over here on the left side, just to make sure I get that lined up correctly. And now I'm looking at other parts here. Get that a little slide up. And that's pretty good right there. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and push from the other side so I don't blemish that beautiful foil with my fingerprints, because that does tend to happen. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, so now we have a series of little balloons that we need to assemble. Okay, and the way this is going to work, there's other balloons here that go on the front of the card. I'm going to just bring out this one here that has 3. It's the only one like it. Okay, that's going there. This one here with the 3, that's going here. There are these 2 balloons are going here. There's another set of 2 balloons, but they have a tail connected to them. That's going on the front of the card. This one's going here. And then we do have 1 individual balloon. And then we have 1 individual balloon, but you'll notice that there's one that's larger and one that's smaller. The smaller one's going inside, the larger one's going on the outside of the card. Okay? All right, so next, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with this layer that doesn't have anything cut out of it. And we're going to take this, in my case, the gold foil layer, and glue that to this. And that's just going to create these little highlights for us. Okay, so let's flip this over and begin applying our glue to this little grouping of 3 balloons. And we'll glue that to this piece here. Just like that. Try to get that as aligned as you can. Again, I got foil on there, so I'm going to flip this over and press on the other side so I don't blemish that foil. There we go. Okay, and this whole thing is actually going to get foam squared. So we're going to assemble this and then put it together. Next, we're going to take this little group. In my case, I believe this is AC raspberry. Let me see. Pretty sure. It's kind of for a raspberry, it's got a little bit of like a neon tinge to it, but that's okay. That's what makes it really vibrant. So now I'm gluing cardstock to foil. It's really slip sliding away as if it were a Paul Simon song. Okay, there we go. And then finally, this little balloon is going to go over on the left. Let's get our glue on this little guy here. And hopefully that's dry. And that's going right there so that we have 3 different colored balloons. And all the while, we're creating some dimension too, which is really going to make these stand out even more. And on top of that, we're adding even more dimension by using some foam squares. So I'm going to flip this guy over and apply, I'm just going to do 3 foam squares. I think that's plenty. And we'll peel the backings off. And you'll notice here up at the top, we do have a series of little markers to help you with the placement of these balloons. Okay, so this little V-shaped guy and that V-shaped guy is going to go right here where balloons meet. Okay, right about, there we go, right there. Perfect, and you can see the little tails kind of coming off of them too. All right, so that's that for the center on the inside of the card. Plenty of room here for a stamp, your writing. I just recently did a video on using single line fonts to have your Cricut actually write for you using your pen. Let's go ahead and apply our glue. Now this is a foil piece again. Foil, the back of foil is not the same as the front of foil, so this should hold pretty well, but there's like no little nicks and crannies for the glue to really seep into. All right, so let's just pop that into place, and you can see how that looks on the inside, especially when that light hits it, how cool that looks. All right, so that's perfect. That's good to go. And now we're gonna work on the front here. And keep in mind that, again, we have these two sections here, and you'll notice that there's one little kind of notchy thing going on there on this one, and there's two, one here and one here on the right side. And when we glue these down, we want to make sure that this, the edge of this little funky notch looking thing, is flush with this. You don't want it hanging over. And by doing that, it'll also make sure that we have an even border here, 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 and here, as long as we get it centered left and right. Okay, so let's get that glued into place. So again, this one here with the single notch is going to be on the left side, like this. The one with two notches over on the right. I guess technically, I don't know if you could flip-flop it. I don't think you can. Actually, maybe you can, but the balloons will be on the wrong side, and we designed them specifically to be on one side because of the locations of the tails. Okay, so anyway, again, this one's going here on the left. Make sure that little notch is flush with the edge of the card. And of course, I need to make sure that I get that centered. A little tricky, but not too bad. There we go. Okay, and press that down. Perfect. That looks great. Okay. Wonderful. All right, same thing on the other side. Let's get our glue in place. Everything's drying out really fast today. I don't know why. I wonder if there's so much moisture in the air, so that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Who knows? Okay. All right, let's get this guy glued into place here, making sure he's nice and centered, nice and flush out to the edge of the side. And that looks good. Press that down. Okay. All right, so that just leaves our little panels. There we go, perfect. Okay, so on the front here, it's gonna say Hooray. Wait a minute. Yeah, Hooray, it's your, and then on the inside, it's gonna say birthday. So to put together the Hooray, we have a foil element. There's a vanilla, a black, and another vanilla. This is so you don't have to do a print and cut. This will actually cut the letters out for you. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna start by gluing the black onto the vanilla. And it's got these little funky little cutouts on it, which are actually just the insides of the letters that would kind of fall apart if you cut them out of one single sheet. So just line that up as accurately as you can, like so. Just like that. And then we're going to take this part here and just match that up with the little cutouts. And you can see how that looks. And it's really cool because it actually creates a nice dimensional look for the captions, which you normally wouldn't see if you just did a regular print and cut. So it's pretty cool. And now these little areas here where you've got like the little sections of the Y hanging off there, try to get a little bit of glue on that so it doesn't go anywhere. Match up those little lettered areas and press that down. There we go. There's Hooray, almost done. Now we're going to take this whole thing and glue it onto this foil element, in my case foil. You might just be using cardstock, and that's okay too. And there we go. And just make sure you get that nice and centered. And because I'm gluing this to foil, I'm going to give this extra time to dry. I'm kind of bending it towards me a little bit because I think it was bent back a little bit when it was being pulled off the mat, which makes sense. All right, let's put that off to the side and let it dry. We're going to repeat the same process with your. Again, we're going vanilla, black, and then vanilla. I also inked that a little bit. So let's get this one done, and we'll get it all in place here in a minute. But yeah, these cards are going so quick, and there's really nothing too repetitive or monotonous. So I really haven't had time to chat or give you guys updates on life, but baby Peyton just turned 3 months on Valentine's Day. He's doing great. Of course, he has his little fussy days. I think he's starting to giggle, which Mom really loves, because Mom laughs so much that you almost think that, I don't know what I think sometimes. She laughs so much, but love her laugh. Very contagious and fills the house. Makes it nice and warm and inviting, lets you know that everything is good. But yeah, he's doing great so far. Can't complain. Looking for some milestones coming up here pretty soon. All right, so again, just like we did with Hooray, we're going to glue this onto the foil element, and we're going to let that kind of simmer for a little bit so that it doesn't come pulling away. There's literally almost, I feel like there's nothing on that foil surface for this to even adhere to, but one way or another, it eventually stays on there, which is good. Okay, so there we go. Got that in place. Put that off to the side. And the one with the balloon here, that's where it gets a little bit more involved. I mean, it's not hard, but anyway, the process is mostly the same. We're going to start off by putting the vanilla part onto the black. We don't have 2 vanilla parts because it wasn't needed based on the letters that we had. There were no little center parts that would fall out, so it kind of saved us a little bit of paper there. And we're just going to glue this down to the black, just matching it up perfectly, like so. Okay, so we have the vanilla on the black, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Now you can see that the 2 balloons on the side, actually even the third one here, is going to match up perfectly with the shadow portion on this piece, the foil piece. The rest of it, you can see the shadow on there. Now, what we're going to do is actually begin installing these onto the face of the card, and you'll understand why here in just a second, even before we get the rest of the balloons done for this one. Okay, so let's match that up, get it in place. There we go. I'll flip that over and press down from the other side. Okay, so as I mentioned, let's close this up, and you can see that we have these little markers here. The middle of these are going to line up with this right here, like so. And you'll even notice that there are little markers here and here to help you get the placement spot on. Okay, so that means that we need to apply glue to this just from the center on down to the right. So Hooray is going to be on the top right like this. So let's flip this over, and we can begin applying our glue. Let's just make sure we're putting glue on the right side. So literally on this one here, it's going to be, when you flip it over, it's on the left. Go easy with the glue here, and again, don't go past that center point. And then what we can also do, just to make sure that we get this nice and flush out there, is just put a little bit of glue right on that section and just spread that out to the very edge. And you can do this flat. I'm going to lift this up just a tiny bit, and we'll pop that right into place. Don't get any glue on the foil, because that ain't coming off. I know people have successfully said that they've successfully gotten it off, but I've never had success with that. Okay, so you see how that looks. I think that's really cool. All right, so that we've got Hooray, and then it's, with the balloons, is going to go here on the left-hand side. So same thing. Okay, obviously we need to put glue on this side, the side with the balloons, and we can go all the way up here, apply glue there. And just line that up as accurately as you can. And we'll take that and press it down. Very cool card, different, still really cool. Okay, it's gonna close like that. All right, and then finally, it's your, and it's gonna go here. So when we flip it over, the glue is gonna go on the left-hand side. Whoops. Let's make sure we're doing that right. There we go. Okay, don't forget you can put a little bit of glue right there. Okay, line that up. Right up to the edge. And press that down. There we go. Awesome. Okay, we'll give that a chance to set. There it is, nice and closed. Now, you can take this one step further if you want. You don't have to do this, but we have, and we've used these little Velcro dots a bunch in the past. Very tiny little Velcro dots. You can put one on the back here, on the center one, and peel off the backing from the other half, like that. And then we can close this, press that down, so it knows exactly where to stay. And now we've got, and it's transparent too, so you don't really see it when you open it, but it keeps it nice and closed, which is a cool little touch. Okay, anyway, all right, so that's almost done. So let's go ahead and close this up and keep it closed. And let's finish off the balloons here. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we gotta get the green balloon in place. So I've got this guy here, and I'm gonna grab this single vanilla piece. That's gonna get glued behind this balloon here. And that's just to, again, let that little highlight. So let's flip this over and just apply glue just to the balloon portion right now. Wanted to note that we did include, in case your machine is struggling cutting these balloons, we have a version of these where the tail is a little bit thicker. Okay, we didn't have any problems with the Cricut, but I realized that not all machines are created equal, and you may have one that struggles with it a little bit. So look in the extras folder for that. Now on top of that, we have this little gold piece that's going to go on top here, and this is going to be a little challenging, but it's definitely doable, so just be careful. And with this, I'm just going to go very easy on the glue here, just little dots, and then I'm going to take my finger and thin that glue out so it doesn't go shooting all over the place. And I'd probably keep this on a table, on a surface, and just line that up like so, and then just drop it into place and press it down. If it's not perfect, don't worry about it. But you can see that that worked out nicely. Okay, pretty simple. All right, so this guy, we're actually gonna take and flip him over, and he is going to receive a handful of little foam squares. Let's just do 2. I'm trying to create and build some height and some dimension on this piece. Okay. And he's going to go down first on the top left here, just like that. Okay. And then next we're going to build these balloons, and these balloons are going to go here. Okay, and we're going to tuck those behind like that. Okay, we're going to use some additional foam squares for that too. So for this, let's take and apply some glue to the back of these 2 balloons that are joined. And we're going to take this vanilla piece and glue it to the back, again, just to create that little highlight that we've been talking about. Okay. There we go. And then we have one more little piece that's going to go right here, so that we have 3 different colors, just like on the inside. So throw a little bit of glue on this last balloon that we're going to pop on right here. Just match that up with the little cutout for the highlight. There we go. And then finally, we have the little strings, or the tails on the balloons. And this is going to be a little challenging. Now, if you want, you could literally take a pair of scissors. If you're finding this too frustrating, just take a pair of scissors and cut them off. If you don't like them, it'll still look cool without them. But hey, you know, the rest of it was easy. I'm giving you a little bit of a challenge here. And I'm just going to do the top half first because the bottom half wants to like wiggle around. So I'm not gonna try to do all this in one fell swoop. It will prove pretty challenging, I think. But if we just do the top half first, it should be pretty easy. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. And that worked perfectly. So now what we can do, this is a great idea here right now to avoid ripping anything. We're going to paint some glue. Okay. So I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper, just apply a nice thin layer of glue to this. And we could even just do one tail at a time here. Okay, so I'm going to hold it right here where they kind of meet. And I'll tuck this in between the two layers and just paint a little bit of glue right on that foil part. That way I have no glue on my fingers. And then just press that down into place. So simple, so easy, and no mess. Perfect. Okay, and then I've got enough on there for this last little piece. Just paint a little bit of glue on the back of that. There we go. And just hold that in place. Line it up. Make sure you don't have a bunch of glue on your fingers and press it down. And there we go. Perfect. Beautiful. That was not hard at all. Initially, when we designed this, we had some string on here. So we were going to glue actual string on here, but I found that it was a little difficult to kind of shape the string to make it look nice. So we said, hey, you know what? These Cricuts, they can cut nice details. Let's use them. Let's use that Cricut's ability. Okay, so now with this, we're going to double this up actually as far as the foam squares go because that already has one layer. And let's think about where we need to put these foam squares. I want to keep them off to the sides so that they don't interfere with the green balloon. So I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one here. And then I'm going to take that off and put another layer right on top of it. And that's okay. Whoops. Not a big deal. Okay, we'll take this. And I love seeing the little details that my cutting machine can put together for me. And there we have it. That's awesome. Look at that. Okay, very cool. All right, so that's pretty much it. Okay, so the only thing left to do now is just put our envelope together. And I have all the pieces for that here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, and I can tell that it's kind of bent a little bit because of how it was taken off the mat, I think. So I'll try to correct that. And it's going to go like this, okay, which means that we need to apply our glue to the actual flap here, like so. And we'll try to get a little bit of glue inside of these little detailed areas. There we go. Just like that. Now take this piece with your table, with this thing on the table flat, just kind of slide it up to the fold. Make sure it's centered and kind of give it a little push, and then just bring that down and press down. Just be very careful if you're using foil like I am to not smear and spread this around because it will not forgive you ever. It will never forgive you. Okay, perfect. All right, so that just leaves a little embellishment here. We have this balloon that we're going to pop in here just like a little puzzle. Okay, so that should fit in there perfectly. It'll give it a little two-tone look there. We'll have the nice green and a little bit of this peach color. Just pop that in there like we're putting a puzzle together. Perfect. And then for the other side here, we have this little tail and that's going to go right in here like a little puzzle as well. So we'll flip this over, and just like we did before with that those little tiny elements, just tiny little dots of glue. And spread that nice and thin with your finger if you need to. And just pop it right in there like a little puzzle. Just give it that two-toned look. Okay, cool. All right, so let's close up the envelope here. Bring the two sides in. We'll apply our glue to this part of this side of the flap. Same thing here. Take the bottom, flip it up, press down, nice and snug. Okay. And don't be like me, trying to put this into your envelope right away. And let your envelope dry a little bit before you do anything. You can see that it fits perfectly and it is ready to go. You got your beautiful tail on there. You can use the Velcro, and it's hooray, it's your birthday, ready to go. So that's gonna do it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment, visit us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We're getting close to 55,000, which means it will be close to 60, and then eventually at 100,000, which I hope to get to by the end of the year. It'd be awesome. So take a moment, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, or anything for that matter, from our site, visit us on Facebook by looking up Dreaming Tree Group. That's where you'll find myself and over 40,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So thank you again for hanging out with me, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.